Hello everyone. So I'm just gonna wait for a few moments for other people to hop on over, and then we'll get started. We are talking today a little bit about, I have notes just so I don't forget anything, but we're gonna be talking about relationships, we're gonna be talking about fire, grounding, and then a little bit of intuitive movement today, just to explore what's going on with our body, connecting with our energy systems. So super excited for it. But yeah, so let's see. Talking a little bit about relationships, I'm just gonna jump on in. So relationships. I don't consider myself an expert on this situation, just because who does? They're different for everyone. They're different for everyone, different for every situation. Because again, there's relationships with literally everything. What I'm learning in my Healer's Blueprint is what it's called, my Cellular Energy Release Certification. It has an entire module on relationships because we don't only have relationships with our partners or our family members or our friends. Those aren't the only relationships that exist. We have relationships with everything in our life. You have a relationship with yourself. You have a relationship with your partner and family members and friends, but you also have a relationship with the chair you're sitting in. You expect it to be there when you sit in it, and you expect it to stay there. You have a relationship with your higher power, and so this relationship is really just, it all depends on what you are, what is happening. And so we have relationships with everything in our life, whether it's the chair you're sitting in, expecting it to be there, and when it doesn't, that boundary between you and that relationship has been broken, and so you're not going to trust that chair again. Or you have a relationship with your favorite restaurant. You have a relationship expecting them to have your favorite food. Or you have a relationship with yourself, understanding yourself, growing and building upon yourself. You have a relationship with your partners and everyone, but you also have a relationship with stuff, where you put stuff, how much stuff you have, don't have. You have a relationship with things, you have a relationship with your higher power, you have a relationship with your spirit guides. Have a relationship means you have the relationship, you don't have the relationship. It's all on the spectrum of what is going on, and you're somewhere in between. And so that's just a little bit about what a how I'm viewing relationships. This isn't just romance. But yeah, so within a relationship though, understanding the deciphering and discerning abilities, as most of us who are watching this have come to understand and recognize that you are an empath. You can feel others' emotions. And so understanding that difference between, okay, what is that emotion and what are my emotions? Are these actually my emotions? And so on the relationship standpoint, this is where a lot of empaths have this I don't know what's going on. I was even watching an episode of Charmed. If you guys haven't seen Charmed, the old version, not the new version. But I was watching this episode last night actually, and it was talking about how one of the characters was having a hard time discerning what was the other person's emotion and what was theirs. And I'm like, I have been there, and still trying to understand, okay, what is their emotion? What are my emotions? And so really, really strong understanding that needs to come in within any relationship. Okay, what is my understanding? What are my actual emotions, and what are their emotions? Whether it's family members, dad, mom, brother, sister, dogs, your pets. You have a relationship with your pets. They have a relationship with you. Understanding whose emotions are whose and what are you actually feeling. That way wow, I'm getting a phone call. When you make choices, you are making choices from your emotions and your understanding, not from somebody else's influence over you. Really, really powerful right there. And so being able to discern, okay, what is mine and what isn't mine. And so having your protections on, having those shields on. I have a few videos of how to easily protect your energy. And so making sure you are grounded, protected, and centered within yourself. That way you can decipher, okay, what is going on and how can I best make decisions to empower myself, as well as other people, but making sure that I'm in an empowered state so that I can then empower others. And then within that, so shifting gears a little bit within relationships, we all have triggers. We all have triggers, and we get triggered by anything. This could be People can be triggering. Obviously, we all know that. We all get in arguments. We all have our up days, down days, whatever it is. But understanding the reaction versus responding. And so being in that space of like, okay, what is actually my energy and what is the projection from whatever it is onto me, or is this my perception of what's going on? And so even if you smell something, it could be a trigger. If you hear something, it could be a trigger. If you see something, it could be a trigger. And so like feeling out these situations and feeling out what is not yours is going to really help navigate this whole world that we're in. And so understanding, okay, how can I better respond? And so we're trying to grow out of the reaction phase of our survival instinct. And I'll get a little bit into that later. But reacting versus responding. We have been in reaction mode. We have been in survival mode for so long. so long. And so we have been reacting. We have been projecting. We have been harming and triggering. And that is where we have been. As a human species, that is where we have been. And so moving into this responding and being like, okay, so I'm being triggered right now, or I'm perceiving a trigger, or I'm a little hurt right now, or they said something really mean and I want to fire back, but I'm going to take a step back. I'm going to zoom out, view the entire situation. What's going on? How am I seeing this? How is this helping? What is actually going on? And how is this reminding me of what else I need to process and what else I need to grow through? And so with this reacting that we have been in, and then moving into this responding, there's this little in-between part where we're just like, I don't really know what's going on right now. I love you too. I don't really know what's going on right now. And so if I'm reacting, but then I'm trying to respond, what happens in the middle? What happens in the middle? Because in a more defined state, I guess you could say, reacting has been the third dimensional, that third density, where we have been in this third dimension. And then responding is going to be something that happens more so in the fifth dimension frequency vibration that we are trying to anchor into this now moment. And so that in between, that fourth density that's in the middle, between 3 and 5, that fourth density that's in the middle is that like unknown, like I want to react right now, but I know there's something that's going on. And so it's going to shift a little quickly. You have this like, I got triggered, okay, reaction phase right here, but then, okay, what's actually going on? That question then either leads you back to reacting or it leads you to responding. And so you have that choice right there in that fourth dimension, that fourth density of what's going on. And so we're always traveling, transporting between 3, 4, 5, 3, 4, 5, 3, 4, 5. And so in this time, especially 2020, if you guys haven't felt it, we have been moving back and forth, 3, 4, 5, 3, 4, 5. Okay, well, triggered, question, response, or triggered, question, triggered. Any of the above. It's been this back and forth that's been going on. So reacting, questioning, responding. That is trying to be the progression that we hope to anchor in. Just because we are all human and it all happens, and that is totally wonderful and okay. But yeah, so we have that's going on, and so that leads me into the 3 different brains that we have. As a human, our brain up here in this little noggin has 3 different, I guess you could call them categories. And I'm not going to be scientific or anything, that is past me. I tried to be sciencey, it just didn't work out. Anyways, so 3 different brains. This is something that I have been learning over the past few years, and within this certification program, I'm really starting to integrate into my understanding. And so the first one is going to be the reptilian lizard brain. And this is something that is all about, I'm trying to remember, the reptilian brain. And so, yes, love you. Let's see, reptilian, pleasure. This is just something that is here, and you're just like, okay, if it feels good, I'm gonna do it. Cool. Not worried too much about the repercussions, but then learning if it's a bad repercussion, not gonna do it again. So that's the first one, the reptilian brain. It's all about manipulation, it's all about the darker things, and just being more just like, I'm here and doing the mundane tasks, but being in that manipulative, I almost said decisive, but not, kind of, sort of, but mainly manipulative. Just like, if it feels good, I'm gonna do whatever it takes to feel good again. And so that's the first brain. And then the second brain is called the monkey or mammalian brain. And this is something that involves survival. And so we have the, like, okay, if it feels good, cool, awesome, but if I'm not able to survive by doing it, I'm not gonna do it. And so that's where the monkey brain comes in, and it's a little more logistical and like, okay, how can I actually survive through doing this? Or will I survive? Or how do I survive? I need to be in survival. So like, how can I grab from every angle and always be doing? And that's going to be the monkey brain. And then we move into the more angel brain, this higher self, higher frequency vibration brain. And this is conscious empowerment, is the little, how I've like index card like bullet pointed it, is this conscious empowerment that comes through the angel brain. And this is pulling in more conscious thinking, more conscious decisions, just all of the things. And like, okay, so I want to feel good, obviously, but I also want to survive, obviously, but then also I want to be living in a life that I enjoy, that I find fulfillment in, that I find pleasure in, that I find is serving not only myself but others. How am I giving to this collective, to this experiential life, but then also receiving in a way that makes me feel fulfilled? And so that is what is the three different brains: the lizard, the monkey, and the angel. And that is how my the cellular energy release certification describes it, are these three brains. But within that, again, we have three different options there. We have the reptilian, lizard, and angel. We have 3, 4, 5. Okay? And so within all of these densities, we have pleasure, survival, and expansion. Okay? And so pleasure, survival, expansion, that is, those are our choices. Basically. I mean, I don't want to like label it and be like, this is what it is, but also that's kind of, this is just one perspective as well. And so going in, we have the reptilian, monkey, angel. I'm trying to think of where to go next. Let's see. And so within relationships, you have the opportunity to use whatever part of your brain within the relationship that brings you the highest joy. And so whether it's using the reptilian brain and be like, I just want to feel good. Awesome, cool. That's the portion of the relationship. If you want to survive, if you're in the relationship to survive, that's one choice, that's one aspect. And so you have a relationship with money. We all have a relationship with money. Mainly, a lot of people find pleasure in money. A lot of people find money is just for survival. And then a lot of people have been coming to this understanding of money is just a vehicle for their expansion, for their give, receive, their abundance. But money is not the focus. It's what money can provide. It's the give and take of the universe. And so coming in and like, what is your relationship and how is your brain relating with whatever it is, whether it's your parents, how is your relationship with your parents? And do you find yourself when you're in their presence or thinking about them, are you reacting or responding? Are you in the third dimension? Are you in the fifth dimension? Are you consciously thinking, or are you unconsciously accepting whatever it is that they are stating to you? And so there's this relationship with everything, and that is what I'm trying to get across the most in this very roundabout way. But 3, 4, 5, these three options, I guess you could say, the reptilian brain, monkey, and angel brain. These are the processings and reacting versus responding that are coming in, that are trying to be accepted and seen right now. And so that is just a little bit more on the relationships. Moving into when we think of relationships, I specifically wanted to talk today about fire, because when I think of relationships, I'm like, ooh, I think of fire, because fire, passion, fire, heat, fire, cleansing, and it's a little scary. And so just all these words that I'm like, oh, definitely relationships. And so that's why I want to talk a little bit about fire today, especially with everything going on in California. I'm not going to touch too much on the California fires. You can look into those for yourself. But yeah, so fire. The element of fire, this is very much just a higher, deeper, it's not the most understood element, because a lot of people, when we think of elements, we think of fire, water, earth, air, okay? But then a lot of people don't know the fifth element, which is ether or spirit or whatever you want to call it, universe, source, energy. So that's the other one that I have come to find and resonate with. But the other four, when we think of air, we're just like, okay, yeah, very fluid. Well, not but, and then we think of water and we're like, okay, very flowy and very giving and just being, just go with it. And then we think of earth and we're like, oh, yep, hard as a rock, stoned and grounded. But then we think of fire, and I'm just like, fire, what do I think of with fire? And so the words ignition, passion, I've come to realize fire is extremely cleansing. It's a new start. It's scary. And then I came to the question of, is it tameable though? Because we can channel water. We can channel water, and we can channel water, and we can like reserve, and we can dam up, and we can just block it off. And so we can control water pretty nicely, as with our growing technology. We can utilize air, and we can channel it to give us like energy. We can channel it to do all these things. And then we can create it with like fans in the rooms. We can use it to our benefit. And then we have earth, which we have come to like build buildings. Like there's just so much we can do with earth, and that we have been doing. But then we come to fire, and the one thing that I thought of, like, it's kind of scary, and it's a little not, it's a little untamable. Not too tameable. Like, we can't tame it too much. Especially with like everything going on in California, we are very much seeing like, oh, okay, something can start from a campfire. Whoa. But then also like not being able to tame such a powerful force is like scary. It's like, what's gonna happen? What's gonna happen? And so there's this element of the unknown within fire energy. And so what's going on with fire, it can be unstable. But then when I think of all the elements and know that fire is within us, we have fire within us to help with digestion, to burn all the calories, to get the sweat, to get us moving and get us momentum. And then within each of the chakras as well, we have fire within us. As humans, our body is created from, yes, we have a lot of water in us. We know that. We have a lot of water. We utilize air to continually survive. And then we utilize earth to make sure that we are fueling our body, to make sure that we are giving to the water, to the air, to keep us processing. And then we come to fire, and what do we think of with fire? I think of like the untamable portions, like anger and hatred and all these things, but then also passion and forward-moving focus and determination. And so there's all of this energy within us. And so thinking more of the fire energy, I'm just like, oh, there is so much here that I'm still coming to understand. And so I've been loving diving into it, even just for the short little time. But so yeah, fire. Going back to relationships and fire, putting them together, we all have a relationship with fire. So some people find fire interesting, or something to be observed, or something to create with, or other people like myself find it a little scary and so avoid it. But there's just something, you have your relationship with everything in existence, and so this is just an element. And so going into your relationship with an element, if something reminds you of the element, you're gonna have your reaction versus responding experience. And so are you reacting and being like, oh, that reminds me of this thing that I really don't like, I'm going to avoid it? Or are you going to be, that reminds me of something that I really don't like, what am I going to do? I'm going to avoid it because, so that's the conscious decision. You can avoid, you can do those things, but consciously choosing, I'm going to avoid it because I'm not ready to deal with it. Or I'm going to approach it and do my best to process what's going on. And so there's this little balance that's going on, this dance that's happening within everything. And so talking a bit more about fire, if you guys have any thoughts on fire as well, or just how you view fire, definitely put them in the comments. But, just trying to think. I went through all my bullet points, but I feel like I didn't touch on something. That's okay, we'll come back to it. Moving on into grounding though, because we have fire energy that's going on and it's going every which direction. It's a little bit, and it's a little bit everywhere. It's a little bit sporadic. But then we get into this grounding of everything is like set, especially coming out of this Virgo season where it was very much this earth, this earth sign that was like, get organized, get everything in order, and get everything like set and planned and scheduled. Make sure everything is just laid out, and so you know everything that's happening. And so grounding is very much just like structured, you know what's going on. And then fire is over here just like weaving and waving, and you can set the origin of the fire, I guess you could say, but not too much. Like the tip of the flame, it's gonna wiggle back and forth. Even with a candle wick, it's going to, you can't really predict where it's gonna go. Even if you're blowing on it, it's gonna like wiggle everywhere. So when we're grounding, we know like step by step, structured, scheduled, planned. And then the fire, the like what's going on, where am I going, it's a little bit more aggressive. And yeah, so grounding, it's something that's important. It's anchoring in. And so going back into my purpose for bringing this up is that I keep hearing I talked a little bit about anchoring in the 5D on one of my last posts, but then I started thinking like anchoring in, that feels to me like we are pulling something down, or we are like dropping an anchor and it's going down, down, down. Whereas like when we are grounding into ourselves, when we're grounding into the earth, we are becoming we're becoming one is how I view it, or we're coming back to being one. We're coming back to being centered. And so when we're grounding, we're bringing in this feeling of acceptance, of love, of nurturing. And so grounding in the 5D being a little bit different from anchoring in the 5D. Anchoring in gives it a bit more of that pull, that like, that feeling of needing to do something, if that makes sense. Whereas grounding opens it up to a state of being. We are grounding in the 5D. We are grounding in the response energy. We are grounding in the balance. We're grounding in the love and this next step of what's going on. And so grounding in the 5D, or the angel brain, as I discussed a little earlier, this conscious empowerment, grounding that in as our base energy. And so we don't have to go back to being triggered so much. We can understand like, oh, I'm feeling this sort of way. Why am I feeling that way? Instead of like, oh my gosh, I'm feeling this way. Why am I? So like there's that different progression, similar experience, but different approach and emotions coming up. And so when we're grounding, it's just something it's really important to be doing, especially for myself. Spending so much time in the more etheric realms, the connecting with the cosmic beings and angels and spirit guides. And so being more so in my higher chakras and being out in the higher dimensions, definitely grounding back in, because I have a physical body. Because we all have a physical body. We all have this experience of being here in the now and being needing to be here. Like I still have to eat, I still have to go to the bathroom, I still have to make money, I still have to pay rent. Like I have all these things every 3D person can have, but just knowing that if I'm not grounded, how is it going to get done? So making sure to reground, reset, and really just go in and connect all of this that's going on. And that way it's going to be easier to ground in the 5D. And so that's the other portion, are we calling in the 5D? And so that's going to be more of the anchoring in. Are we calling it in and it's something that we're still reaching towards? Or are we being in 5D? It's just a frequency. It's not a place to go to. It's not something you have to reach for or achieve. This isn't something that is out of our reach. This is something that is very much in this moment. And like I've discussed a little bit, is just tuning that little knob and being like, oh, that was definitely a 3D response. Let's switch it over. How can I be more in the 5D? How can I be more in this conscious empowerment? And really being in that, and that's going to be what grounds us into the 5D. Okay? And so not so much calling it in and pulling it down and trying to create this heaven on earth. Like, okay, if that's what you want to do, then awesome, you do you. I'll be over here trying to be in 5D, not so much do 5D. Okay? But that's just a little bit more about grounding. What did we say? Yes, I appreciate you calling attention to the importance of grounding in our bodies. It's easy to stay in a dissociated state, especially when things are chaotic. Yes, Kimberly. Yes, yes, yes. I 100% agree, especially when things are chaotic, making sure that we are grounded. I remember a specific experience. We had gone hiking, my friends and I, and we had lost someone, and it was this remote hike. There wasn't too much, like, yeah, we had gotten lost, and we weren't sure what was going on. They were a little hurt, and so we were just very concerned. And there were a few responses that could be taken, like freak out, which is normal, which was something that I could feel coming up within me, like, okay, I could freak out right now. Like, where are they? What's going on? Are they okay? Or I could be like, okay, I understand that we are missing someone. How can we find them? I have guides on every dimension. How about I just ask? Instead of being like, what's going on? How can we do this? How can I find them? How can I? Instead of how can we? And so there's then in this fifth dimension, there's this we aspect as well. Knowing that we're not alone. We're not, we're individuals still, but we're not alone. And we're never alone. So there's that little bit. Yes, the feelings, thoughts arise and we can decide which ones to respond to. Yes, 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 yes. All of the above. So amazing. Okay, so let's just take a breath real fast. I just feel like taking a breath. So deep breath in. And letting it out. And this next one, really breathe into your tummy. And letting it out through your mouth. Delicious. Okay, so the next little portion, since we've been talking for like 30 minutes already, let's go ahead and just do a little bit of moving, okay? And so this is not dancing. I do not consider this, well, it is dancing. I do have a dance background. I am a dancer, but this is for anyone, okay? And so if you are watching, whatever, if you're watching live, if you're watching later, go ahead, get in a space where you can move. You can do this sitting and just like wiggle. You can do this just as a guided meditation. You can do this however you want. But how I describe it is going to be sort of a guided moving meditation. And so however that resonates for you. But go ahead and just take a second and be in a space where you are. I might stay sitting, I might stand up. We don't know yet. Okay. But today I figured we would explore the overall energy. Since this is intuitive movement, this is just something I've come into as I have been doing my own moving practice. And so exploring how the physical body, okay, our physical being, our human, interacts and has the relationship, why we talked about relationships today, has a relationship with the energy around us. Okay, and so that not so seen, that kind of unknown force that surrounds our entire body. And so a little while ago I started exploring the aura layers, since in my understanding I utilize our 7 chakras and the 7 auras that radiate from them. And so in today's little movement category, we're going to be exploring the overall energy. And so just moving through, not going too precise into what layers are being felt, but really just trying to feel the energy that's around us. Okay, and so I invite you, wherever you are, just to take a moment and just feel your aura. And so you can do this just as a meditation and just feel your surrounding, or if you want to, take your hand and put it away from you. I'm gonna scoot back. Put it away from you, and then slowly move it towards you until you feel a little bit of resistance. However much it is perfect. And so I like to do this from my heart because I find that one to be one of the more powerful ones within people. Just because we are love beings, that is where we are created, that is how we are created, and what we are from is that love energy. And so just trying to feel that aura radiate from our heart. And so once we feel that, then just trying to feel around, just feeling around our energy, just feeling what's going on. Again, breathing, taking in those deep breaths. And it's going to be different for everyone. On any day, I find a lot of times my aura can be really close. Ooh, I'm going to go this way. It can be really close to my body on some days, or on other days it can be really far out. Today it's a little bit more in between. So just feeling around. It's almost like you're giving yourself a little massage. It's so nice. Just feeling that aura. If you have any colors come to mind, take note of them. Don't need to analyze or judge anything right now, but just taking into account what's going on within your energy. Or if you find a place that seems a little like rugged or cracked, or if there's a hole anywhere, you can just like smooth it out. Just smooth out the aura, almost like you're painting a wall. And so just taking this moment just to find what our energy is. And then when you come to this space, you can start using other parts of your body to explore your aura. And so I'm going to use my elbow right now to explore the aura along my side. Use your feet and just see how your energy feels, however it is, however it moves. Reminding yourself that you have an entire back space as well. It's not only forward. So getting into the back a little bit, taking some spiraled motions, some spiral movements, and just feeling what's going on. And if you want to close your eyes, feel free. Feel free. Whatever feels good to you. As we progress, in your own time, take a moment to start to move from that energy that you are feeling. Feel the energy and then move from the energy. So you're moving from outside and inside your body. Your physical body is moving, and so is your energy. You're not separate anymore. You're totally united, synced up. Just feeling how you are moving. Does it feel forced? Does it feel crackly? Does it feel fluid, free, light, heavy? What's the feeling? And then just taking a second wherever you are, taking a pause, allowing your energy to thicken. Not so much to get heavier, but to thicken in a sense that it's going to be easier for you to feel. It's not so distant from you. It's really connecting deep. You can feel it not so much from the skin, but it's connecting all the way to your inner bones. So how does this feel to you? And then shifting your focus to what your energy is now looking like. Searching for any dark spots or pockets, cracks or holes. And when you find one or some, just taking your hands and physically moving them out of your energy field and allowing them into the ground, either pressing them or letting them fall into the ground, giving them back to the universe to be used for the highest of good. And as you continue doing this searching, returning back to your breath, back to your body, encouraging you to rub your body. However that is for you. I find rubbing the arms with my palms really helps reconnect with my body. Just really rubbing, lathering yourself just to ground back into this physical form that you reside in. Reminding ourselves of our face, our ears, the back of our head, our neck, our spine, our ankles, our feet, legs. And taking one last deep breath into your tummy. Letting it out. Awesome. Thank you so much for exploring with me. That was fun. Curious how that was for you. So go ahead and comment. I just have a few more things to talk about. So, a little bit of things to talk about. I am extending the beginning of the Intuition Masterclass. Super excited for it to start again, but we're just going to be extending it a little bit more to be starting on October 3rd. And so we'll be starting on October 3rd with the next Intuition Masterclass, so please let me know if you are interested. We will be going into you. We're going to be exploring not only your own energy. I do have another larger version of what we just did integrated into the masterclass. So super excited to be exploring that with everybody. And then we have weekly one-on-one sessions with me, whether it's an intuitive guidance connecting with your spirit guides, angels, and galactic family, or if it's a tarot reading, weekly session with me just to gain that clarity. We also have weekly collective readings just to provide some clarity for the upcoming week, things to focus on. And so I'm going to be making videos every week for the masterclass in there. And then we also have a group chat, and so it's going to be everybody in there. I am reserving it for 6 souls, and so whatever 6 people want to join in, definitely excited for whoever resonates, and so we're going to be doing that on October 3rd. And so we're going to have everybody along this journey being able to incorporate and communicate with each other, like what's going on, what's going well, what's struggling, if it's a hard day, bad day, low day, good day, happy day, what's going on. It does have daily prompts within it, and so daily prompts are like, what are you feeling today? What do you believe? What's your energy like today? What color is your aura? And then also a bunch of other things, just teaching a little bit of healer tools. So you doing your own healing. You don't need sage, you don't need crystals. How can you be your most powerful healer without needing anything or anyone else? Understanding like how to read auras, how to see auras, how to feel them. Like similar to what we just did, videos on that. We also have videos on how to channel, and so that's in there as well. And then other modalities like simply to smile. And so that's all in the masterclass, which I'm super excited to be launching again on October 3rd. So let me know if you or if a friend would be interested. Definitely let me know. Would love to do that. Super excited to be doing that. Thank you for exploring today as well. And then on the other end, if you've seen one of my latest posts, I did just launch my Bloom bundle, and so it has everything that I'm offering all in one, and you're gonna save a lot of money. And then also the progression through it's 2 months long, your progression as the human, as the soul through the 2 months. I'm super excited to be helping facilitate your healing through those 2 months. And so definitely from the beginning, it's going to be, you're going to get a distance healing every month. You're going to get 4 intuitive readings or tarot readings. You're going to get 8 cellular release sessions and a crystal Reiki infused bracelet, which I have found so powerful. Like, wow. I make them. I love making them. It takes me like 2 hours, but I don't mind. I love them so much because I intention each crystal for you, and then I put them together. I make a list of like what each crystal wants to do for you, and then I send it off on your way. So definitely let me know if you'd like to be in the Bloom bundle. Super excited to get that launched. It's ready and it's up, it's going. So we have the Intuition Masterclass, we have the Bloom bundle, and then also on the other side of it, I am taking one-on-one sessions right now for the cellular energy release. And so however that feels for you, I'm super excited. There's been so much experience and release and lightness that has come from these sessions that I'm super excited to still be offering them on a donation basis. So whether it's just a simple review or a monetary compensation, whatever it is, definitely excited to be offering those. And then last but not least, this month, I guess not this month, October, we're going to be having another 101 class. And so this last month I did a Tarot 101 class. And then this upcoming month is going to be a free donation-based channeling 101. And so how to channel. How can you connect with your own spirit guides? How can you connect with your own galactic family and start channeling messages and hearing them? And so really awakening the more clairvoyant, cognizant, sentient abilities within you, and really paying attention to how your own intuition is speaking to you. So I'm really excited to be doing that I haven't quite picked a date, so keep an eye out. But really excited to be doing that this coming October. Anyways, that's a lot. Thank you all for joining in today, talking about relationships, fire, grounding, and then doing a little movement exploration. This video will be up on my YouTube for later. But yeah, I will see y'all next time, and thank you so much for joining. Bye. Okay, here we go.